Let's talk Trump once again. Brian Quinn is here with Business News. Donald Trump's infrastructure plan for the US, it's something that he went big on, isn't it?
That's right. Trump in his State of the Union address celebrating the state of the U.S. economy and the markets. The one thing everyone was looking forward to in the speech, though, his plan on U.S. infrastructure. Here he is.
I am asking both parties to come together to give us safe, fast, reliable, and modern infrastructure that our economy needs and our people deserve. Tonight, I'm calling on Congress to produce a bill that generates at least $1.5 trillion for the new infrastructure investment that our country so desperately needs.
It's Trump calling for that $1.5 trillion in infrastructure. The question, of course, is how to pay for it. There have been a number of proposals floated for the plan. One favored by the GOP and the administration calls for just $200 billion coming from the federal government, the rest coming from state and local governments. And part of the reasoning for that is to avoid further adding to the federal budget deficit. Democrats, though, would like to see the majority of the money coming from the Fed. They especially want to avoid privatizing U.S. infrastructure.
Now let's turn here to Europe. Industrial workers are striking today across Germany, not somewhere we usually hear about strikes.
That's right. The powerful IG Metall union has called for full-day walkouts through Friday in anticipation of a vote on extended industrial action that could be crippling to parts of German industry. Nick Rushworth reports.
The clash between German workers and employers over pay and working hours seen since October is stepping up a gear, with 24-hour strikes underway in more than 250 factories across Germany.
IG Metall has made its proposals, we've made ours. We've told them what they are asking for is unacceptable, and they've told us the same thing.
Negotiations are stalled on a union demand of a 6% pay rise, employers are offering 2%, and also a demand for shorter working hours.
We want the working week to reflect the lives we lead. We want the right for each worker to be able to request a 28-hour working week.
The union argues that right would give workers the time to care for children and elderly or sick relatives for 2 years. Employers say they can only accept that if they can increase workers' hours when necessary. Both sides have left the door open to resuming talks after the strikes end on Friday. IG Metall is in a strong position with 3.9 million card-holding members. The union argues that they should benefit from Germany's fastest economic growth in 6 years.
Nick Rushworth there. Markets then, Brian, how are they looking today?
European index is opening slightly higher as investors look to some more corporate earnings and economic data due out over the day. London's FTSE 100 up 0.1%. The CAC 40 here in Paris up nearly 0.2%, with Germany's strikes not weighing too heavily on the Frankfurt DAX. It's up 0.1% as well. Asian index is on a bit of a roller coaster ride Wednesday following big losses on Wall Street in Tuesday's session. Automakers declining, manufacturing and tech climbing. Major indexes bouncing to either side of the flat line during the day. Tokyo's Nikkei index finishing down over 0.8%. The Kospi in South Korea ending just under the flat line. Hong Kong's Hang Seng up nearly 1%. The Shanghai Composite off by 0.2%.
Now, finally, from Brian, it's no secret, of course, that age discrimination is more and more a problem. But we didn't think that people in their 30s, like me, would need to worry about it, did we, Brian?
Right, in the employment sphere, perhaps not, Stuart, you're still safe. But we're talking about dating apps here. Okay. California has told dating app Tinder that it can no longer charge extra for its premium service to people over 30. Tinder Plus gives paying users unlimited swipes, an undo function, location changes, and more. In the U.S., it costs $9.99 for the under 30 set and $19.99 for those 30 and up. Tinder argued that the more mature would be more financially secure and thus more able to afford the higher prices, but a California court called it discriminatory pricing and ordered Tinder to dump it.
I completely agreed until you got to the older people having more disposable income. And I thought, have they not heard of children?
Yeah, not necessarily true, is it?
No. All right. Thanks a lot, Brian. Brian with Business on the programme.